Welcome back, everybody, to Anime Savants. This week, I am Cure Butterfly.
This week, I am Toma.
Okay. Wait, Toma from who? From what was that?
Hell's Paradise.
Oh!
With the one eye.
Yeah. Okay. And so we do have an answer, and then we can also go over our answers for this question. But one of the previous questions that we had was, which character of the opposite sex do you most relate to? And Mish responded with Ranma.
Homie.
So, I don't know anything about Ranma. What happened? So, but I actually just found out through talking to James that Ranma has two versions. So I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, Mish posted that picture. There was no explanation, but I mean, you can let us know.
I think for a lot of people, Ranma was like the original girl boy, you know, in the sense that, but in a very serious kind of way, because the structure of the storytelling all revolves around changing form. And so girl Ranma, I think for a lot of people before, you know, we sort of became adults or more adult and were processing what we were seeing, just accepted what was happening on screen. Ranma turns into a hot girl, and then a lot of stuff, misconceptions occur. But the thing about that show, which I always enjoyed, is that they don't really like rest on a gag or a gimmick. Like Ranma comes into the story already having been cursed by the hot spring in China. Like he's off with his dad, and you know, stuff has happened before. So when you see Ranma transform after getting hit with the hot water, you're like, hold on, wait a minute, what's going on here? But then by episode 3, you're lost in the comedy. I think like the first, aside from like the marriage proposal and some of the other stuff, the very first confrontation that happens is I think it was battle rhythmic gymnastics with Ranma in girl form going ham with like other people at the high school, which I thought was like one of the, like I didn't even know what rhythmic gymnastics was when I saw it, but I was completely captivated by that series, and I love Ranma. Ranma's awesome. Rumiko Takahashi is a genius, complete genius, literally. So I can get behind that. No love for Shampoo though.
For who? Oh,
the character Shampoo. She turns into a pig when she gets wet. But also a psychopath, like 90% of the cast in Ranma 1/2. Oh,
I should definitely check that out in some sense then. For my persons, people, I guess I would say the person that I will relate to initially, or when I was younger, would be Amy Mizuno from Sailor Moon, so Sailor Mercury, just because I really liked her design and shit like that, but I also liked how she was smart and she like prioritized school and shit like that, and like it was kind of easy for her in some sense, and I was like, school's easy for me, I like that, I appreciate that. And then I was introduced to Faye Valentine from Cowboy Bebop, and then I was like, I love her because I really, really, really liked her approach to life. And I mean, everybody got a little bit of trauma, but I really liked how she was like, I'm doing this shit for me. And even though initially it's like, I don't really fuck with you, I don't know you like that, you're on your own. Once she warms up to you, she does have your back. Like she does, like once she fucks with you for good. So I appreciated that, and I really liked that about that character. And I was like, I'm kind of the same way. Like on First Contact, I am a lot to deal with. I'm a lot. And I feel like she's also a lot. So, but as you get to know me, it's just like, oh my God, like whatever. Like you're so this in your way. And it's like, yeah, I am. But First Contact, there are a lot of walls. There's a lot of stuff to deal with. So, yeah, Faye Valentine. And then I would also say Nico Robin, but just because I want to say Nico Robin. But I don't relate to Nico Robin because she's traumatized as fuck. I think
you just like the design.
I just love the design. Love the design.
No, I think I mentioned before, like the Major from Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
So fucking cool. I saw the movie first, so the standalone complex stuff was like was a nice breath of fresh air and kind of a slightly different take on the same character. But like that's what solidified how much I love that character because there are at least 3 different versions of her in popular media, like the original Shiro manga version, which is a lot more philosophical and a lot like funnier. Then there's the original movie, which is more, the character is much more reserved and aloof, and the movie sequels all follow the timeline of the movie, not the Standalone Complex TV show. And then there's Major from Standalone Complex, who's like, I think, a much more well-rounded and balanced character, because you see her not just like, you know, brooding or thinking, but like emoting and showing like interest in things in life. So it's all like, all 3 versions I think were awesome. Also, I want to amend myself. I'm getting my Ranma details mixed up. Ryoga is the pig. Shampoo turns into the cute cat. So nobody take my head off. Like, there's a reason why I'm thinking of pigs, and it just has to do with one of the series that we watch weekly.
I'm sure there's going to be a comment about that only, and then they they'll be like, oh, oops, let me go delete that.
I was thinking of pig characters, which we have something to say about this week a little bit, I guess.
Oh God, Akatsuki?
A little, yeah. A little bit.
All right, well then, let's get into the massacre. So, I have to say, this week with Gundam, I'm a little worried.
Me too.
I'm a little worried.
We're rushing things here, guys.
Yeah, it kind of seems like they're actually planning to end this shit.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. We got no build up for Quiet Zero at all. Like, we didn't get development. We didn't get them like developing it, how Miorine helped the development at all. We didn't even see what it looked like, and we kind of just got all of it at once. And
yes,
that was just jarring compared to the way that the rest of the show has been written. So I enjoyed the episode. I did enjoy the episode. But I am worried that they're gonna try to like send this shit home, and
like quick,
yeah,
like within like 2 or 3 episodes,
and they don't have the time. They don't have the time. So I saw another theory though that maybe they will continue this with like other characters in the future. So they'll do another season of Witch from Mercury with other witches, and then Suletta and Miorine would be like proxy mentors or whatever. But we haven't gotten any hints of that. I think the only thing that is keeping my hope right now is that Dawnfall, what is it, Dawn Guard?
The Dawn of Fold.
Yeah. We haven't gotten any more of them yet. So that plot line and just the Earth as a whole, gives me hope that there's more. Like, even if the Quiet Zero stuff gets settled this season, then hopefully like an actual war occurs, because Shadik's not done.
No,
he's not done. And the thing that gave it away to me, which I mean, he's always, you know, fuckless, but those girls were so calm in prison, and they were just like meditating, I'm like, they were not distressed. Because if they were distressed, that would give me the impression that, oh, this wasn't in Shadik's plans. Like, oh, y'all got caught out. No.
Yeah. He's
not done yet. And also, there's no way they're going to wrap up that rivalry after just introducing it last episode. Like,
And then
there's no way.
And then moving Lauda into a confrontation with Miorine, who's not a pilot.
Okay, I was expecting him to say Suletta.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I figured.
And when he said Miorine, I kind of was just like, where did that come from? Because he was like, ever since you arrived. But I was like, the person that arrived and sent shit to hell was Suletta. So
right.
Where did you get this from?
Yeah, that was like, you know, you have that moment where you're waiting for what makes sense, and then something that doesn't make sense kind of comes out.
Yeah,
I was like, and we're on our way to Miorine. Hold on.
Yeah,
What?
Now it will be a crazy scene though, because he has no permit experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I did see some people post about Shakespeare. Someone told me about Shakespeare and that what is it from? One of Shakespeare's characters has power over air and something, a spirit named, so they have a power of spirit named Adriel, and then something else named Caliban. So they're relating it to Shakespeare. Let me find that comment real quick, because when they posted that, I was like, oh shit, like that's something I never would have caught, because you know.
I mean, that's cute, and I could see there being something there. Here's what my main concern is, regardless of what the timetable for wrapping up the series is, whether they do get another season or not. I'm not pinning my hopes on any one thing, but the central conflict of the story is not, at least until the last few episodes, is not Prospera versus the world. It's not Suletta versus her mom. I mean, these are all issues that they exist within the storytelling, but they're not the central conflict. The central conflict is space versus Earth.
Yes.
That's the motivation behind
and that gives me hope. That gives me hope, right? Because Earth isn't really involved with this conflict.
But the way the season ends and whatever the plans are for the series will probably say a lot for my feelings about the way that story has been told. Because I was on record in the first half, or the first core, saying that it was refreshing how confident they were in the characters and the world that they had done, that they didn't feel any kind of extra need to push that Earth rebellion story. It felt like it got to simmer on the side. It was the motivation from almost all of the structure of the first season on the in the school, that you have Earth House versus the space rich people, right? That was a nice little allegory to the state of relations of things in the rest of the world. So you have all your kids in this little fishbowl acting out the same rivalries and the same discrimination and the same haves and have-not situation. And then outside, there's politics, there's all these stuff with the Bennett group, there's the rebels who are fighting on Earth, and then every time the real outside world kind of snuck into the kid story, especially in season 1 at the end, where you have all that stuff go down on the station, right? And then you say, oh shoot, there's antagonists or players coming in from Earth fucking everything up. It leads to all these traumatic moments. It's like really some get real shit, like Miorine watches a dude get smashed in front of her and it's like, oh fuck, I gotta recontextualize everything. So I was very on record as saying how surprising that they were so confident. The problem now is that if they really want to wrap up this storyline and the show and say that, well, actually, the main story we wanted to tell was Miorine and all the the newly reformed Bennett group versus the villainous Prospera, and then just end things like that. I don't know if I care that much about that story as much as that other one that they were hinting to us was sort of the allegory for what we were watching in season 1. If it turns out that all the stuff with like the Earth forces was just to introduce a few cute characters so that they could all come together at the end to fight her mom, then I would not feel as strongly about my first take. In fact, I'd probably recontextualize that first take and say they really didn't have the time to fill out the vision, and then it's like a very rushed, contrived ending to what was something that was very promising. So it's always about like sticking the landing and giving yourself enough room to breathe. So that's where I'm at on it right now, because this episode hit us with so much stuff. We get Suletta spilling the beans on her entire backstory. Like, she knew she was a clone the whole time. So that's interesting because there's no like, you know, there's no mindfuck moment or anything else to come out of this. It's just like, yeah, it is what it is. Like, I was a clone.
I'm a replica child.
I'm a replica child. Like, it's all good. And it's like, oh, okay. Then like Ellen shows up at the end, and it's like, I guess off camera, they've already confirmed with the pale people that like the Elon that she knew and him are not the same, and all the details of that program. Yeah. So instead of having like a conversation, he just says, she says, tell me about the other guy. He's like, yeah, I'll tell you everything I know. And that's kind of the end of that like line of story building. We get Miorine, who spends most of the episode crying about things, which is very not in character for her. Like, I can understand like the one episode of when she was on Earth watching people get killed, but like every time they cut to her or she entered a scene,
she usually was just, ended.
I was like, oh, what are you so obsessed with? Whatever. Then she rejects actually like good advice.
Grassley taking the fall.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't want to lose anyone. Who are we talking about? The old nigga who tried to kill you or kidnap you, or Shadiq? Who also, okay, whatever.
She's talking about Shadiq. I don't want to abandon anyone.
I was always hoping that if they went down the road of like President Miorine, that she did a lot of the things her dad would have done, but it hurt her. So like, there's the division between her and Suletta, is that Miorine is willing to do the hard shit that nobody likes. Suletta grows as a character and says that you don't have to leave anybody behind. But instead, they both are now kind of saying the same thing, but I can't actually tell you the reason why she suddenly bailed on her big plan, other than maybe watching a bunch of civilians die.
With this, it would make sense for she and Suletta to have a rivalry because of their approach to protecting everyone.
Maybe. But that's what I'm saying. Like, the doing it this way means you kind of take the oomph out of that dichotomy. You know, if she was willing to basically screw Grassley, and I would have been totally okay if like the way it happened,
that would have been on brand for her.
Exactly. And that's, you know, we, the audience, get to see that she was conflicted about doing it. But like, in fact, it was the president of Grassley who was like, yeah, this is the right move. You need to learn from your dad sometimes how to like live in the real world, not your make-believe childish fantasies about everything being cool and fair and working out and everybody gets saved. Like, you should know better than anybody else that that's not real life. Whereas like, you know, then you get Suletta, who's come to the realization that you just have to do what you can. So then you've set those characters up for a good collision, even if the bad guy of the week turns out to just be her mom, and they take care of that shit. So I was like, oh, okay. Then we finally get the, what do you call it? The League showing up with a big bad fleet that became, for like, that was an important plot point for 5 minutes. They do the announcement. They say we're declaring war on the Bennett group. You see the shots of this massive fleet and a space station weapon, which is very like a Gundam staple, is like a weapon that's a space station. The thing that was like attached to the asteroid. And then 5 minutes later, they remove that threat by having Prosper just kill everybody. So it's like the pressure of that ticking clock coming along is gone, or at least it's diffused somewhat. Let's assume there's like another fleet, but like, who cares now? We've seen that they fucking suck. So that was gone. So I don't really care about the Space Assembly League, I'll be honest with you, at this point. Like,
I thought it was interesting that they were attempting to do the same thing to the Bennett group that the Bennett group, or was it, with the Space Assembly League.
It was always, it was that Cathedra did it for them.
Yeah, Cathedra did it. Yeah. So I thought it was just funny how, like, you know, the witch hunters are hopping from place to place, still chasing, but Prosper actually has a retaliation tactic now.
Yeah, and that would have been, again, like, if we were getting more time to tell this story, man, what a cool set of factions that you would have set up that don't neatly align anywhere, right? Because you would have Miorine in charge of the Bennett group, which is an awkward fit on purpose, right? And she's a child. Let's not forget that she's like fucking 15 or 16 years old. But I'll leave that there. You have Guel, who's like, he's in the Bennett group. He is supporting Miorine, but he actually has ties to the Earth forces. Mm-hmm. and knows people within Dawn of Fold, but does not necessarily have a prejudiced view of them. Then you've got the Earth Rebels, who don't like anybody from space, and of all the factions in this entire show have the most grievances with everybody. Like every single person on our main cast. And in fact, you might even argue that they would be most likely to side with Prospera, especially if all she did was promise them a world without control from the people from space. Not like, oh, we're going to give you like medical technology, or, oh, we're going to build a factory in your town. Like, she's like, I will just wipe all these niggas out. They're gone. How about that? So they have a lot of incentives. And
that is one thing that they want, because that's what they demanded of Miorine during their meeting. And then they were like, actually, we want the gun arm tech.
Yeah. Right. So they would have an interesting set of conflicting alliances right there. You have Prospera's group, which again, I don't want to headcanon my way into being annoyed, but what an opportunity that faction could be if it's like, we're talking about witches, right? And now we've got a faction with technology that can control all other technology. I like that. I like what we talked about last week of, like a cult around her and her grievances and power and everything else, like fanatical people who want to like eliminate, like utopian fanatics. That would be really cool. You had Cathedra as this arm of the Assembly League that on paper are antagonists who go around, violently suppressing and murdering anyone using Gundam technology. But in light of the fact that the Assembly League is going crazy and maybe they're, attacking Earth and doing all this other shit, are actually sort of like secret police who are caught in the middle. Then you've kind of aligned Suletta with them, piloting an experimental mobile suit. That's very much like Gundam and Zeta Gundam, as far as like an independent task force underneath the Federation government, but they're kind of rebels, they're kind of in a war, they're kind of not. So there's all these like bits and pieces of factional disputes and characters who have unresolved issues with each other. We're not even talking about Shadiq, just bust him out of jail, throw him with Dawn of Fold, but now they've got like great technology. Like, what a mess you could make in a story, and to have it all resolve with like everybody tag teaming to kill Suletta's mom is like,
it doesn't resolve anything except Prospera. But
and even
haven't linked her explicitly to all the other problems so that it would make sense for her to be like the one all fix. She's not the one all fix.
Also, is Prospera wrong? I'm not saying she's right. Yeah, but it's like both her intent and what she's doing, is it wrong? Because I could agree with someone who had an argument that was like, here's why you should do it a different way. But in this episode, the argument that got made was your mom is killing people, so she's bad. But all the people who are talking are people who've been killing people.
Yeah. I mean,
so is it just that she's better at it? Like, what's the debate
because she's
here?
going outside the status quo.
Yeah,
she's not.
It's weird.
She's not doing it towards people that they accept, like, to die. Like, she's not doing it to Earthians and shit like that. Like, she's killing space niggas on the regular basis.
I mean,
which could be, as you said earlier, that could be something else where like they end up killing Prospera, and then the people from Earth become emboldened because they actually respected her and saw her as some form of like revolutionary or martyr or things like that. And then I don't know. At this point, I'm nervous. I'm just nervous, and they do not have enough time to wrap this up. They do not have enough time to wrap this up unless they announce. No, they can't even do like an hour like finale. Like they can't. That's not. They don't have enough time. We need another season, but I'm not about to sit here and beg nonstop for a second season because they already have it planned what they're going to do. All we can do is just sit back and watch. So,
true.
But yeah, this is it's kind of sad.
I'm negative on rushing. We don't know what the ending is, and we don't know what the future of the series is. So I'm not negative on the series.
Yeah.
But come on, let's not. It worked in the first core because it was very obvious that it was a setup. The last 3 episodes kind of come at you really fast. But what they don't do, which is happening here, is that they don't put characters in a blender in order to get to the plot that they want to tell. They put in the last 3 episodes of the first core, they put all of our main characters in tough situations that you, the audience, knows are gonna go bad. And so you're just waiting for the shoe to drop. But in this case, it's like, well, like everyone's kind of on they should be on their, you know, a character arc, the upswing where you kind of figure out who you are. And it's like, I'm not really seeing that from everybody. Like Guel has been kind of reduced to like guy who stands in a room and talks about things that happen when he should kind of be action man, you know, like things of that nature are happening, which are like, guys, Miorina should not be crying girl. Suletta shouldn't be doing exposition dumps. You know what I mean? Like these,
because she really doesn't have. She doesn't have the wherewithal for that shit, man. I mean, she has the right to do the expedition dump about her past, but like anything else, it's kind of just like, girl, you are nowhere. This is not your niche, your character. Yeah.
Yeah, the only person who was kind of doing what they should do in the plot was ChuChu. Because her character is the one that's like, we don't care what's going on in your life, we got your back. That's as far as her character development has gotten. So she actually did the thing that her character is there for.
It just can't. It can't. Because what's the girl's name with the thighs? Mio?
Oh.
Or whatever her name is.
Thigh girl.
She's showing up too much now. Like, they keep bringing her back over and over and over every episode. So it's just, I feel like, why are you doing this to this character that's been there the whole time, but you're just now giving them a spotlight? It doesn't make sense for you to do this at the end of the series. That doesn't make any sense. But
yeah. Caliburn's gonna get wrecked fighting Eri. They're gonna have like the mind to soul transfer.
Yeah,
like it's gonna happen.
Someone said, what is the saying? The prosperous saying, if you
take one step, gain one, something like that. If you stand up, gain one. If you take a step forward, you gain two, or something.
Yeah, like someone said Aries gonna gain 2. She's gonna gain a body through Suletta. And I was like, yo, that might happen.
I think that's ultimately a fun resolution to the whole problem, which would be like, you know, having Eri be incarnated in real life using the Gundam technology. Like that, you know, that's like a fine coda to the end of the story where you're like, oh, okay, this character does actually get some, you know, resolution in a way.
I mean, but they could also they could end Eri's arc with everything. With basically like they resolve Eri and the Data Storm and Prosper's little thing. But then there's a war over like gunned arm, like, and the technology and like people get in there because it'll be open access. Then it's like, okay, well now we have just like all these fucking witches everywhere. Like everyone's using Gundam and they're not using it for medical purposes. Like people are churning out Gundams.
If I am rewriting this, not necessarily knowing where they're going, the angle I would take would be something similar, which is use Prospera as a story device to destroy all of the military power that up to this point has kind of held things in check. The Assembly League and also the Benner group, right? Have her, if she goes out taking out all of those, the
established order.
Exactly, all of her enemies. But then leaving a mess behind into which you throw a massive space to earth war. I wouldn't call it a civil war, but it's sort of like, you know, all the gloves are off. There's no checks anymore. It's scrap season.
Who's going to control who?
Exactly. And then you bring your characters into that as adults. I
actually got some hope for a time skip because Nika said she wanted to turn herself in, and then after she served her time or whatever, then she wanted to come back to school and like learn about the mechanics. So I'm like, is this foreshadowing?
Or are we gonna? It could be a death flag. Either it doesn't.
I mean, it could be a death flag too. But I was like, ooh, you're giving me mechanic on the ship in the future. I mean, it's been obvious she's the mechanic character. But I do like how she's been integral to a lot of the plot. But yeah, we did get a ship. Like, they own the fucking ship, and they have not been on it.
I wish her being a mechanic had been very relevant to this core.
It was more relevant last season.
Yeah, the thing that was really relevant this season was her backstory that we didn't know, which is that she was, also from like Earth and Dawnfold shit. Like that wound up being very important to the story, but it wasn't exactly an idea that we had, the audience, I say we, but the audience had been introduced to, that it had been woven kind of into the subtext and the plot of the first core for it to really have been, because the thing that we saw her do was like go to the ends of the earth to get Suletta out and fighting all the time. That's what we saw her doing. So the fact that like she didn't do any of that in the second core is I won't say it's a shame, because it was fine with the character, but it means that now her role gets reduced to who she is rather than what she is doing, if that makes any sense. Still not upset, enjoying the show.
I'm not upset. I mean, I want to see what the fuck Caliborn looks like. That shit was like
I hope it's cool.
I also hope that we see something, because they were talking about, the feedback, Suletta can't handle it, blah, 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 shit like that. If she's a replica child of Eri, then I feel like she must have some kind of tolerance for permit levels. Or
I would presume, that she probably does have that, but it's also
she's
interesting.
Never used it, and that's why Eri fucked her up, because she was always relying on Eri. But maybe now that she has some experience, or because Eri fucked her up with it, maybe she awakened to it, and she has like a natural predisposition, just like Eri, because Eri got like a bit of experience in the space station, like little by little, fucking with the machine. Yeah. So
well, Eri is a good pilot. I don't know if Suletta is a good pilot, and I shouldn't be asking that question 20 plus episodes deep in a Gundam series. It's probably not great to do that, but I'll accept it.
We shall see. We shall see.
I'll accept it, but I'm just saying it's probably not the greatest idea, because a lot of people do this stupid thing, and again, this has nothing to do with the show. It's really more like the meta conversation around the show, where it's like, they want Suletta to just be a good Gundam protagonist and a good pilot on her own merits, right? No magic, nobody doing the work for her. Just have her be a good ass pilot, and then have this story. And as things have unraveled, because I was a defender of that concept, going back, we're on the show talking about it. Suletta should be a good pilot. She is presented as a good pilot.
Yeah, that was one of the first things you wanted to like manifest from that character.
Now we're 20 episodes deep, and we find out that actually Eri was doing most of the work. I don't like that. Even if it's not exactly what was meant. I am not a fan of that. I get it for the purpose of the story, but let's not do that. Let's take these last few episodes. They still have time
to roll it back. They still have time for them to interact, and Eri be like, I was like helping you a little bit, girl. Like you were doing the majority. So
because if it winds up being that like the next time we see Suletta in a cockpit, it's her 1v100ing her mom's like gun bits and her sister, then you can make a credible argument that over the course of the series, Suletta only has like one piloting victory in the whole show. That's her, which is the Guel battle before she used all the bits. Like,
yeah.
Everything else was somebody else. I don't like that. If that's the case, so that's what I'm saying. She's just now become the character she probably should have been, like coming into the series, or at least by the end of the first core. Now she's doing it. If you're telling me that the series is going to end in 3 episodes, it's not like this. You can say whatever you want about all the other like Amuro Ray knockoffs that they've had over the course of like Gundam's history.
But the core Gundam though.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like there have been a lot. even the worst ones, like the ones that nobody remembers, the ones people don't fucking like Garrod Ron from Gundam X, which, by the way, this series is fucking cribbing notes hardcore. I don't know, you probably never saw it, but like in this episode, when they do the Gunvolver gun bit shit, and the back panels open up and a bunch of beams of light connect to the array, that's literally the Gundam X.
Oh.
Down to having what's effectively a new type control all of them and form like a solar array type super weapon where they all shoot. That's straight out of Gundam X, which I like. I like them cribbing notes. But like, come on, man. When we watched Gundam, all the OGs, we wanted Amuro versus Char because that was Ace versus Ace. Amuro was getting aerial victories against other Zeon pilots over the course of 60 to 70 episodes, and when he 1v1s the best on the other side and wins, that's supposed to mean something because he's a good ass pilot. Yeah, sure, like Lala Soon and like connecting with each other psychically and fucking brain waves and all kinds of other fuck shit. Like, yes, all that happened, but he was getting aerial victories. Goddamn, what's his name? Banagher Lynx sucks as a character. Got a lot of victories against Zeon and Neo Zeon aces over and over again. Okay? He went 1v1. Suletta has not actually had an adult opponent.
Yeah. In
the whole series.
But this is their time to do the credits. Like this is their time for the last episode to do the credits where all the characters from the future show up with shadows on their face and we just see the body silhouettes and them talking. And shit like that. Like, this is the perfect... You're right. The perfect setup for it. And then the very last shot is Suletta's like ace rival for the next half of the show.
How? Speaking of which, I'm just riffing here. But how the hell did Guel get Suletta's real honest backstory? How did that happen? He had the arc that she should have had.
He really did. He really did.
How did that happen?
It would actually, now that you say that, it probably would have been much better if Suletta had been to Earth and seen all that stuff in person.
My nigga, could you imagine if like
do you think maybe they're like splitting the main character up into like
it feels like they did
the core
it
cast?
Feels like they kind of did it. And the hilarious part, what if like Shadiq escapes from the space jail and comes back with a mask? He comes back with like Prosperous mask, bro, but the only person he has beef with is Guel. So then it's like he would lead
because he would lead the Earthians in the Earth War, but it would be the opposite. So the masked person wouldn't be leading space units; they would be leading Earthian units.
Right. The Char clone in this one is who's not actually a clone. Suletta's an actual clone, but the Char clone has beef with only Guel. That's it. He actually never faced Suletta.
He has beef with Earth.
No. I mean with our main character.
Oh.
Who is her rival? Who is it?
Because honestly, you know what? It can't even be Shadiq because Shadiq always relies on those girls. He can't.
Well, that's
fight
what I'm saying.
them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's such a. By the way, I want to see that, but we're probably never gonna get it. I need their equivalent of like the Black Tri-Stars, but just with those girls, and like someone has to kill one of them. Like that's kind of how it goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, Homegirl's alive. I was surprised about that.
Oh, right. Petra.
Yeah, Petra. I was like,
you fucking cowards. You cowards.
Well, they killed other people.
That's what I'm saying. Also, okay, I'm getting more hyperbolic than I mean. If the point of Petra getting injured was to pile up yet one more thing on Lauda to have him like turn heel and just be a bad guy, killing her would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Just having her being in a hospital is like, whatever. There's too many people in hospitals. Delling's in the hospital.
Delling is still in the hospital.
The Grassley CEO is like at the edge. He's been at the edge of death the whole time we've seen him. Like now Petra's in the hospital.
His nose the whole fucking time.
Yeah, the whole time. And then isn't there a whole like shit that we haven't even got to with like his Delling's wife and the Gundam
we
technology?
Don't know the cause of death for Mirine's mother and shit.
Yeah,
like
we like
that.
obliquely referred to that. The Grassley CEO apparently knows what happened, but like it won't say anything. Like this is what I mean. Like I'll be heated if they really try to tie this shit up.
They can't do a Kakumeiki ending. I mean,
that would be okay. If they did that, I would laugh my ass off, and I'd be happy for other reasons like that because it's so fucking ridiculous.
The ridiculousness of it. That I would kind of have to respect.
Tomino really snuck his ass back in.
I don't know. I'm gonna keep my excitement abated. No matter what happens at the end, I really enjoyed the ride. I just put that out there. I really enjoyed the ride, and it is a good Gundam series in my sight. Like it is. I enjoy the mecha. I really enjoy the mecha. The mecha looks great.
Fantastic designs.
The designs are great. The fights have been great. The character development has been great. The pacing has been really good.
Up until now, yes.
Up until now.
So you're talking about like 20 plus episodes. So that's a great situation to be in.
So, like if it ends up being like 80% of the way, 85% out of 100, I'm okay with that because the entire journey's been good. So,
I'm with you. I'm not gonna let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I will always. I'll take a good show that could have been great over, a bad show. And
yes,
it's not a bad show.
And it could have been a bad show.
Oh my god!
It could have been a bad show.
I could think of a dozen ways they could have taken this, including going like all in on the Yuri, which they've kind of backed off.
They backed off on the Yuri. They could have made this worse by sticking hard to the duels and like the villain of the week. They could have fucked it up so badly from the beginning just with that. And they did it.
To pull that off, it would have had to be a much campier show, a la like G Gundam. Like it has to be, and it would have to be like pure camp at that point. Also, is a choice.
The romance. I know I said something last week about I feel like we're kind of missing romance here, and not just the Yuri part of it. The like Guel and the Shadiq crushes on like Mirene and then Suletta in turn. If there were more of that, but in the like whiny Gundam way, I would have been like, oh no, okay, like you're doing too much. I know you're teenagers, but like kill people. What are you doing? Like, no, don't be whining. I like her so much. Oh my god, I gotta see her. Oh my god, oh my Gundam. No. So I'm glad it didn't go in that direction because I was getting that shit from Gundam. That was one of the things I didn't like about Gundam Seed. I was like, you niggas are too
Athrun. Anyway,
I was like, I can't stand you niggas. Stop crying.
No, okay. That shit, man. Look, there are
the games were fun. The games were fun. The Game Boy Advance Gundam Seed game. Hours in that hole. Hours, sweat, tears. Not tears.
The only thing I will give Seed and the sequel is that there were some situations where niggas got whopped. Like they built them up. They're like, yo, we're coming for blood. And then like first battle, essentially get like one shot. And you're like, oh damn, you got rudely awakened there.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. But all right, I'm a back off my broad irritation and just go to I don't know what we're doing here, guys. So let's get it together. Let's get like a clear direction, You swerve, just a swerve. They did a quick little swerve. They gonna get back on the road. Just pull it back. We have the foundations are fine. Waiting on that season 3 announcement or whatever the fuck is going on.
Y'all gotta get that together.
Right, look at other series you've done, IBO and other things where like if you want to go for the hard ending, do it right.
Give yourself the time.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay. Wait. You know what? Next, let's save something better for last because I just gotta get this out of the way. Cheat Skill is so full of shit. I'm like, I'm sorry. it got worse. Like, out of nowhere this week. Like, it was really, really bad. Like, no, and I mean, I'm not saying that this has been a show that, you know, like, oh, this surprised me, and oh, this is like trying to redo this and redefine it. So, no, this episode was just bad. Like, it was a bad fucking episode, and I think it's because of the source material, or I don't know, but
it's because of the school life shit.
The school, okay, threw me. I almost turned the episode off when this nigga literally was like, oh, that's another world.
Give away the game. It's fine. Like, fuck it.
My mouth dropped. I was like, is he really doing this right now? What is this show? What are we doing? And then oh, another world. Oh my God. Oh, I have a secret with him. I love this. What the fuck? This is not the correct reaction. This is not the correct reaction. The proper reaction should have been, what the fuck are you doing in my back room? Why are you in my house like this? Don't worry about that door. That's a painting. It's a realistic painting. Don't worry about it. And if she did somehow find her way into the fucking world, he should have been like, I'm gonna let you know right now, if you step outside of this fucking garden, you're dead.
You're dead.
You're dead immediately.
This is a literal hell world.
This is not a, we can come here and sit amongst the flowers and talk. Yeah. Like, you can't, no, like, this is dangerous. And he told her everything. The only thing that I was even interested in was I wanted to see her status screen. Because I was like, okay, there must be a reason for her getting into the world at this point. Like, maybe she actually belongs to that world, or her family or something, or she has some, like, crazy fucking skill also. She has fucking high language skill. Useless. Hated it. And where's the fucking bunny? They took the bunny away again. The nigga didn't show up at all. The bunny didn't show up. The archer girl didn't show up. Like, okay. I would say the best part of the episode, which usually it is, well, not it is, but this episode, the only thing that saved it from being absolute trash was the comedy with the king. That was it.
Yeah, that took a lot more of the episode than I thought it was going to take.
It did, but I loved like the banter between the king and the guardsman, and then the one part where he like said something to homeboy, and the guardsman go, "Hello!" like in the background, like off screen. I'm like, okay, like this bit is funny. It was starting to wear itself thin, and then the end of the episode they ended it with some serious stuff, and it seems as though the brother is an actual, like, known villain. He's not, like, in their faces being fake. So, that intrigued me. But the entire rest of the fucking episode, I'm just like, no. Because now that you gave her permission, she can walk in your fucking house and go into the other world at any moment that she wants to. Oh, I can do magic. I'm going to show you magic right now. Oh, I'm telling you how I saved you during all the past episodes. Like, there was no her being suspicious for several arcs and being like, this doesn't connect, and I don't really understand this, and like,
you pulled it out. It's perfect right there. These events don't help develop any character. That's the problem, and that's always kind of been the problem with a lot of the stuff that does not take place, you know, in the isekai world, in the fantasy world. Yeah. And now these two problems have joined, and they've just been bad. Because if you think about it, like, logically, like, not from in the real world sense, but like telling a story, every word, every scene, every moment is precious. It's precious. So it means that, like, if you're gonna spend time doing something, that you gotta animate. And exactly, it has to have some meaning. And what we managed to do was alter the setting, but not help any character grow in any direction. And which is weird because, in the beginning of the episode, they actually got it right. Because that first, like, 4 to 5 minutes, if you just ignore the subplot with like him becoming a model and this woman like trying to scout him aggressively. If you just leave that part, if you leave that aside, because it didn't take, it was like a minute and it's just her talking on the phone. The stuff with the main character, and was it Kaori, like doing doing studying for school, was actually a good moment of character growth for both characters, because you find out that turns out actually main character's not perfect. He's actually bad at mundane ass shit. There's a role for this other character to be there, additive to be there, to do something to either add to the story or to actually be a supporter, but a supporter in a real life context, not a supporter in a isekai anime context. Because like all these stories are pretty much the same. You have overpowered main character. They are faced with issues that they could just get out of by being strong, and then they collect supporters, which are just characters who stand on the side and occasionally voice an opinion, be hot, or be a MacGuffin to solve a problem that is outside the scope of the power scaling.
Yeah, man, we didn't even get no titties this episode. Like,
right. So the problem with all the real world slice of life stuff is that the supporting characters can't be supporters, because there's nothing that they add that they can do for the main character at all, because he's good at everything, at least up until what we saw in this episode.
Which schoolwork, and nobody give a fuck about schoolwork in this show. Go fight.
Correct. But at least you could say that if you could imagine there's like a line that divides like slice of life and the isekai. If he's got all the skills on the isekai side, and then those skills are helping him be perfect in the slice of life side, introducing a weakness of some kind, even if it's just for the sake of giving another character a reason to be in scene, is important. I'm calling that growth. It's growth in the most minuscule sort of way, but at least, okay, we had like 4 minutes where it was self-correcting a problem and giving that cast that's not isekai out of, and power scaled out of this world something to do, what they call like, business in a scene. Like, someone's yammering on with some exposition, and then they shift and you walk into another room, or like they rearrange something on a table. That's the business if you were like filming like real film. So at least it gives these other side characters who up to this point are worthless and their only role is to just like, oh my god, look what's happening. Now it's like, okay, they're forming relationships based on ability. Okay, fine. Then you fuck all that up by crossing the streams and sticking one of the non-isekai slice of life characters into the isekai world, but instead of using that as a moment of peril, which is what it should be like, oh fuck, Kaori wandered into the death forest.
Not be here.
Right, this is a problem, and maybe it's a problem that just being strong doesn't solve. I don't know how you'd work that out. I'm not going to write this story for them. But like, okay, instead of doing that, it's like, let's not waste time info dumping a character with stuff that we, the audience, already know, and then for what reason, I don't know, get the harem all in one house for once. Like, maybe that's the role of doing that, where she can literally be like a housewife in his house.
If Kaori had ended up in the same position that the princess did, like injured in the forest, and he came to save her, and it's like, oh, deja vu, oh, look at that, blah 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 blah. No, I did not like this episode. What do we have? One more? Two?
Yeah, maybe. There was a line I actually did not like at all, because it's exactly the problem I have with a lot of writing for TV, but specifically Japanese wish fulfillment writing for young men and boys, which is when Kaori is walking outside and she's, recounting how she wound up at his place, helping him with, his homework. She has a line that goes like, oh, he's not, like, there is something I can do for him. And I'm like, here we are. The same problem that we always have, where a female character is defining her relationship in terms of what she can do for him, and not what he can anything do for of her own.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
what is he doing for her? What is the basis of this relationship that I'm supposed to buy into, even as like a
she just has an innate fiending for that dick.
Right, all. A hormone-filled teenager. The representation of why does she like this guy? Like, okay, he intervened when she was going to get raped. that's okay, but even that, a relationship based on that would be weird. Like, it's just hero worship.
And all he's done, he hasn't really hung out with her outside of that like little coffee date or anything, so they don't really know each other that well. His classmates know him better.
It's this whole thing of like, I've got to pay this guy back for being the best guy ever, that you just see it repeated like over and over again.
That's perfect. That's it.
Yeah. It's the same thing, and it's when I know that an author doesn't know what a woman is. Like a man who's right doesn't know what a woman is. They may understand like they may understand like an archetype. They may understand like the mechanics of dialogue. But it's like these women are these creatures that exist in the world, they do stuff, but the way you
only
get
in
to
service.
Right. And if a woman would otherwise have nothing to do with you, nothing in common with you, and no actual chemistry with you, the way to write her into a position where she has to serve the main character is to have the main character rescue her. Because now you don't need any logic. Now you don't need to be like, well, what is her opinion of this person and his behavior and his actions relative to her life? You don't need to explore any of that. You can just make her a dependent. And then have her feel, just so like heartbroken that here's this wonderful man who's done things for her. And she's so thankful, but like there's nothing I can do for him. He won't even take my body because this is Japan and nobody fucks. Like it's just absurd. And so you know what? And then the final form is I'm just going to become his housewife without marrying him.
With 4 other girls.
While he goes and fucks around 4 other girls because, getting reverse cucked is like the dream of every cute Japanese girl.
Oh my god. Oh. Okay.
Like that's her dream. We can never be together. I'll just be your housewife. I'll take care of all your problems. I'll do your fucking homework for you. I'll make you lunch. Whatever. I'll tuck you into bed. But we're never gonna fuck each other because that doesn't exist. No touching. I'm the hottest person in my in my prefecture, but I'm not fucking anything. Okay, I'm just gonna pine after this fucking loser while he runs around with other hot women who are like throwing their bodies at him and like seeing him naked in hot springs. But I get to be the housewife. That's a prize. Right? My prize, I get to be. It's weird too. Like we talked about this in earlier episodes, how Kaori's character went from like the hottest girl on earth to like the ugliest bitch.
Yeah,
in the isekai world.
Because everyone else.
Yeah, so she had to become the girl next door, like. The mousy girl next door who's
because
like.
You know what? She was becoming irrelevant. Like her knowing about the other world makes her relevant. Yes. I don't know why she needs to be relevant.
I don't know either.
But whatever.
So bratty princess got to do some tsundere stuff at the end, and then assassins showed up, and that's it.
That's all. Not much. To me, the highlight was the king and the comedy. That's it.
Again, the selling point of the show is that the women are incredibly attractively drawn. Incredible, every even the supposedly ugly girls are drawn. They are fucking supermodels. The proportions are like what you'd expect from an H game, but like a good one. So
they're like Senran and Kagura portions.
Yeah, but it's also it's realistic design
until they start running.
Until they start running. Oh no! Until they start hopping up and down. Anyway.
Whatever. Okay.
Whatevs.
Hell's Paradise.
Let's go.
I mean, maybe you have more to say about this episode. This episode really didn't reveal too much for me because a lot of it I had already been theory crafting in my head. Mm-hmm. So like Tao is the energy. He's used it. Blind dude has been using it all his life. He just doesn't really know, or his definition, the word that he uses to define it is different. And he's training homegirl through experience, not through traditional training.
I thought that was funny. He's like, I have time to train you, and I can't I can't stop myself.
Yeah, he's like, do it this. Yeah, he's like, do that. They're gonna team up, see how long that lasts. And May had a time skip, like in like a bodily growth. Yeah. But that makes me think that it was from the lightning that hit her. Maybe like her shield absorbed the Tao that Homeboy had used on her, so maybe that spurred her growth in some form or fashion. And yeah, the tree dude is leading them niggas through, and Homeboy was talking about a central figure that tried to overthrow the government and start a new try to bring about a new religion. So that name stood out to me, but I also don't know if that was like actual human history or if that's just history in their world, but that guy stood out to me. And just the overall thing that, like, you know, they are not gods, they're monsters, or they are supposedly monsters, and that, you know, because they are not, well, I don't know about like divine or anything like that, but basically the shit can be shared. And I also really liked how Homeboy was like, do you notice that they're growing from the bottom up? Like, they're growing from the navel up. So he was like, their weak point has to be around their navel, like right below their navel, some shit like that. And I was like, yo, didn't know that. But now that they did the flashbacks, I was like, oh, okay. And then they also have a little bit, like, they have mini bosses showing up now. Yep. So I'm interested to see where we're gonna go.
They did a thing to tease you, right? Like, you see the big bads, you see some potential. You let your main character actually lose a fight, which is important.
Yeah.
You got always people. You know, I always chide my shonen enthusiasts. Like, the difference between good shonen and bad shonen is that good shonen is always showing you what the limits of your protagonist are, and they're not afraid to have them lose.
You know what?
One of the things. Yeah.
You know, Katakeo Hitman Reborn did that pretty well with like the feature arc. Them niggas.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Regularly,
yes.
Them niggas is getting washed, and that made it entertaining.
So important. Yeah.
And then like, the next arc with the new mafia family that showed up, they showed up and washed everyone immediately.
Yes.
Oh, they need to remake that. Come on, man.
It's an underrated property that you can always tell, like, people who were inspired by the classics often miss the details that make them work. Like, it's easy to like laugh at, you know, the dumb shit that happens in like a Dragon Ball where it's like, you know, Goku will go and get his fucking ass whooped, and but the creator literally said one of the main powers of my protagonists are when they lose and they live, they come back stronger, because that is the core of the storytelling in all of these series, all the good ones. You always fuck your main character up to bring them to a low point so that they can triumph over the next level of the shit they gotta do before you fuck them up again. Like, you just do it over and over and over again. So, you know, Hell's Paradise kind of gave you the flash last episode, showing you sort of what a probably like a tired Tencent can do, you know, push to the limit, but certainly not in battle mode. Just
okay,
right? So, certainly not, because they even say that at the beginning. It's like, fuck, I gotta deal with more of these motherfuckers. Like, not today.
And they do acknowledge that, like, they're strong. They're like, these humans are fucking fierce as fuck. Like, they kill it. They out here like killing our like minions and shit. Like, they're nothing. So
right.
Also, the fact that we got confirmation that the Shojin, they don't have any intelligence. They're like incomplete forms or some shit like that. Yeah, little things here and there dropped, etc., etc. You know, it was good. I definitely don't think it was like the week, like the last week's or like the 2 episodes before.
No, it was a lot of exposition, and it deals. This week you kind of had to deal with a problem, which is that you have these right now 4 separated groups. Who are clearly all being positioned to go
level
on
up.
To get to the next part of the story, but they all have to have the same or similar information communicated to them at some point so that they all reach the same place at the same time, both from like a physical placement in the world, but also from a development and knowledge point of view.
That was something that I also was noticing, that they all have different pieces of the puzzle.
Yep.
They just have to get together. They just have to relay the information to put the puzzle together. And that's probably going to be the biggest obstacle, is disseminating the information so that they can actually come up with a solution. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, and nobody got it all.
Nobody,
right?
Nobody has it all. Yeah.
There wasn't just like, oh, I'm pulling this out of my ass. The thing that I actually appreciate, again, it's like you could just see that there are little sprinkles of other similar things in the genre that are just approached, give you a sprinkle of it. So an example might be Toma's character is portrayed as obviously a brutish, sort of direct kind of thinker, but like Gabimaru, he is incredibly observant. So when he's pulling himself out of the pit with his brother on his back, and he's like, or am I getting that wrong? Is it Toma is the other brother? It's Aza is the one who's is the one I'm talking about. Yeah. But he's going up with Toma on his back, and you could tell that like Toma's the smarter of the two, but Aza is the, I noticed that when we were fucking that nigga up the first time, he always regrew from the bottom. So the weak point is probably closer to the waist. Gabimaru, when he got that one hit off on, was it Zujin? When he got, I don't know any of their names. When he got the good hit, in, and it was like, ooh, that one actually kind of fucked him up. All right. Something's going on with like the lower body. And then the idea that you have to pick up the little pieces of information to figure out how to win. Oh, you're right.
Gabimaru did hit like the lower abdomen. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like that concept of having your characters, all of them, pick up little hints there, and they get to it different ways, because the different Asaimon like also are approaching it from their own way. Like one nigga's a whole nerd, talk about like, yo, I figured this whole shit out. This is a fake religion, bro. This shit fake, bro. You gotta wake up. This was made by a man. Like he was doing his bit, but even that was important because it was about identifying for that group. Because remember, Gabimaru's already figured out that like, okay, the Horai and everything else, these are just rings. Theoretically, the place I need to be is the center of all the shit, because that's where the elixir's got to be.
Yeah.
But he figured that out on his own. That wasn't shared with the group. So meanwhile, they're not in combat, but they've got to find their own way. So anyway, a lot of exposition. We've now formally introduced the concept of Tao. And that's the basis for the power system, but you can tell already that because it comes from these many different traditions all sharing that idea of like balance, when Mei is talking about weak and strong and then spinning it, weak and strong, and then spinning it, weak and strong. It's like she's trying to tell him like, this is how that shit works, this is how it works. But of course nobody understands what the fuck she's talking about.
I didn't know what the fuck she was talking about either.
Did you notice that also, like, low-key, Mei and what is his name? The guy with the sword. They're doing the what's from Bleach? Why am I forgetting his name?
Oh yeah, Kenpachi.
Zaraki. Yeah, they're literally doing the Zaraki shit.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute.
She's just tagging along and he's slaughtering shit.
Yeah, she's sitting on his shoulder. The cute little girl sitting on the shoulder. The gigantic like fight demon guy just mowing things down. Little stuff like that. It's just a homage. It's not stealing, because obviously it's not like a long term thing.
Well, it's all,
but you
like,
get these little
they
moments.
Came into the island like that and shit like that. So
right. Yeah. It's like you could just tell where the influences were, and then they go away, and then it's not. They move on to like other more important stuff. So a lot of exposition. There was some janky animation, which I heard that there was some production challenges around this part, because if you remember, if you go back like a year ago, there was that big delay around the Chainsaw Man. They were still working on Chainsaw Man at that time, or I think they were trying to finish the season, and they wound up delaying it. But part of it is because there were some budget problems and some staffing problems, and so you can kind of see it in this.
Okay.
Yeah, you could kind of see it in this episode, because when they were Sagari and crew were like walking through the forest, and they had there was a scene where it was supposed to be Yuzuriha is like walking backwards, and like while what was it, Mocha or whatever his name, the tree guy was talking, it like the animation got really off model. Like she was the only one in shot, and you're like, ooh, that doesn't look too good. But that's clearly one of the, it was impacted by budget issues, parts of this episode. I noticed that anyway, so just putting 2 and 2 together. So yeah, all things considered, moving along, we're kind of getting to the we're in the midst of this new arc where we are dealing with the Tensen and with Tao and with the power system and fun stuff. So we'll leave that there.
Yeah.
Did you watch anything else?
I went and watched the first episode of Yakitori.
What did you think?
It was interesting. It was very interesting. And I actually enjoyed how they were doing like the flashback, flash forward, flashback, flash forward. It kept it interesting, because if they had just done the whole, we're waiting to fight and then we're gonna show them shooting guns nonstop and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. It was like, no, that stuff actually, like, it was a nice change of it would have gotten repetitive without the flashbacks, and that was very obvious. And so when they were doing the stuff, moving through the city, and then they had like the machines come and protect them, and then those same machines ended up being the ones that were fighting them at the end of the episode, and I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, you were not lying about them just like bodies. Like them niggas was just in that bunker, just like just
I
found a box of guns. Also,
I laughed out loud when he took the 2 guns out and they were just mowing them down.
But also it's funny, but it's after a while it's not funny, and you get used to it. But the ChuChu,
yeah, ChuChu.
At first, I was like, okay, like this. I
was like, they can't be serious. Then I forgot. Yeah. Then it washed over me. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was literally just like, oh, okay. I'm reading subtitles anyway because I'm watching it in Japanese. So after a while, it kind of just blended into the rest of everything because I was reading it. So I was like, oh, that was interesting. But it was nice to see, like, the breakdown of the Intergalactic Alliance and how certain species are higher than others. The cats are the ones that, well, I don't know, but the cat was the one doing the negotiating. The dogs are the one running the military, and the humans truly are trash. Like, they do not care about them at all. The way that they showed the evolution of Japan from like the modern day Japan with like the tower to the tower like coming down and then building the other stuff, and as they were building that like super huge intergalactic building in the middle of Tokyo, everything around it was just decaying nonstop. And I was like, oh wow, like real third world shit. Like and I think what they said, the only exports were food and like something else, and so they were like, Earth really isn't that valuable in like the bigger scheme of things. So I'm like, that's crazy. Wow.
It wasn't really even like they got like, it was like militarily conquered. It was just like, you guys are just dominated.
Yeah, they couldn't fight back.
Right, and you suck. So hold that. And then they just went on about their business.
Like, it's not like they colonized it or anything. They kind of just like, you're part of this shit. You exist. When we want you to do shit, you do it. Then that's about the end of it. So also, it was so like, you could see how impoverished it was when he was having the meeting with the guy, and he was calling like burgers and fries luxury food.
Yeah,
and
that
I
shit was crazy.
Damn, like, it's that bad? Like, he's like, oh, you trying to give me luxury food, blah blah blah. And homeboy's like, this ain't no fucking luxury food. Like,
meanwhile, there was like a dog in the shot, like right below.
Just slobbering that shit up. Yeah, man. So I finished the first episode, but I was like, this is something I gotta give it to Netflix. Like, they're picking things that
interesting. They're just interesting.
Yeah, they're interesting things. They're definitely not things that are gonna go viral.
Hell no.
At all. But they're picking stuff that I'm like, this is a good watch. Like, I actually like this because it's not just the typical like shonen hype machine shit. It's actually something different. So
yeah. unusual choices from authors and writers who
that are successful. They're just not successful on the world stage.
Yeah, these are I don't know how to say what the right like category for this is, but they're niche, but they're the sort of things that are like cult followings among very specific subgenres that, again, I'm sure part of the reason why they got optioned is that they're probably pretty cheap, like, to get the rights to. But at the same time, like, if they are not the sort of I don't know, like, these are not traditional projects to just be made, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I don't know who is in charge of this, or like what the strategy here is. But like, if you're telling me that like every year Netflix gets a couple of like statement piece manga adaptations of like very like culty auteur like work, because as you can tell from the first episode, this is just a commentary about modern globalism, but it's done
on
through
a
like
universe stage.
Yeah, it's just done through like hyper violence and like wacky sort of like alien animal people stuff. That's cool. Give me like 3 or 4 of those a year. I got no problem with that.
Yeah,
that's up my alley. Other people are like, well, they didn't make the next Naruto, so they're losing all their money. It's like, I don't think that's the intent. I don't think that's what's going on here.
It's probably a longer game for them than just like an immediate gain thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then along with the other side of Netflix, I started season 2 of Alice in Borderland, and I couldn't even get through the first episode because them niggas was just ruthless. Like, they were popping niggas within the first minute. It was crazy.
I really liked this season.
Okay.
There are 3 episodes that I think are fucking fantastic. Like they are like peak for very, very different reasons. And I will just say that of all of them, probably my 2 favorite are there's like a courthouse, like I don't remember the name, but it's like, Scales of Justice is the theme. And there's another one where I think it's literally the what the hell do they call that game where it's like the party game where somebody's like the wolf and then everybody else is
Clue or something.
No, it's the one where basically someone is the murderer, and as you go like round by round, and you kind of whack somebody, but you have the goal of everyone else is to guess who that person is. Yeah, and so I forget what that type of game is called. There's like an archetype.
I mean, they'll call it Among Us now. Shit.
Oh, right, yeah. But they did an episode that was like that, set in a prison with one of my favorite characters in the show by themselves.
Whoa.
And it was great because remember my rule, you can't write a character who's smarter than you. So when you get your very smart character doing smart shit, it makes me like, yeah, I respect the author because they thought through this shit. So good stuff. Okay. Very, very, very good stuff. But there's a lot of good stuff in the season.
I mean, I will be making my way through that because I had to slow down because they really were just... It wasn't that people were dying. It was like they were blowing holes through niggas. Like...
Oh, yeah.
Like, explicitly. And I was like, ooh, I wasn't expecting this. Shit. Like, I was expecting, like, little laser. Like, the little laser comes down. Like, okay, the nigga dead. Nah, there was like a body that just went like, and then just like fell, exploded, and I was like, okay, this is a lot for me. I'm not ready for this right now. So, but I did watch a few parts of it. I did notice a few things in the beginning, like certain people disappearing conveniently in the beginning, and I'm like, okay, my suspicions from last season, they're coming up. So. I will be watching that. Is that all I watched? Yeah, that's kind of all I watched for this week.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything special that was normally on my list. I think my time got swallowed up by what I... It's not going to be my recommendation. It's going to be my admission of guilt at the end.
What?
So I didn't really...
Diablo
4.
Oh, that's my recommendation. It's really good.
I got a stern talking to by my wife, so that's
oh shit
for good reason. So I'm putting her over, like very 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 good reason. So that is my shame of how many hours I've put into it. But before we get there, is there any news or items that you were interested in?
No, not for the most part. I mean, there are a lot of PVs to watch.
There are a ton.
They are talking more and more about the Atelier Ryza TV anime. I have zero hope for this.
Me too.
As someone who has played all 3 games, I'm at the final dungeon for the 3rd game right now. As someone who has played all 3 games, the series is literally surviving off of her thighs. It is. The series is literally surviving off of her thighs. And I'm not ashamed to say that. Like, it is. It just is. The story themes are very simple and very straightforward. I don't really think... Like, they are, like, themes of threat and, parallel worlds and things of that nature. But it doesn't really get really deep. Like, it's a very straightforward, this is a problem, we need to deal with it, we dealt with it. Like, there's no, should we do this? Is this good for the equilibrium of the worlds and blah 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 and shit like that. I will say the first game is very much so interesting in them being a very isolated island, and so the children don't know much about the outside world, and in the process of them learning about the outside world, they're also learning history that is lost to today's humanity, which informs the story. That is interesting. I just don't think it has I don't think it got 12 episodes in it for the first part. I don't. I do think the 3rd game could definitely be something, anime-wise. I don't know if you niggas gonna even get that far.
This is what's... You have raised a question I never thought to ask, but now I feel like I need to ask the question even more. What is the capability of a pair of thighs to carry an entire franchise? I thought about other body parts.
Ask the animators, because it was the first screen they showed in the trailer, the announcement trailer. The first screen they showed were her thighs. They know what they're going to be doing.
Oh, I know. Listen, I had never thought about just thighs alone carrying a show.
These niggas.
But it makes sense. Thigh gang is strong out here.
They literally,
it's real strong.
The announcement trailer was literally words and the beach. And then all of a sudden you see a light, and then you see thighs. And the thing is, you immediately know what it is. You immediately know who it is, because it's
So I saw that there was a picture that was for the special, but I didn't actually click on it. I just saw her head, and I didn't scroll down ever. This is on Twitter. So I didn't know what the rest of that picture was. Bro, is there a way we can edit this on screen?
Yeah. If you find the picture, I will put the thighs on this shit. Now.
This shit is outrageous. And it's not even the thighs are the craziest part. The shorts she's wearing make no sense.
The shorts are underwear.
This makes no sense, bro.
The shorts are underwear.
These are not shorts.
I'm positive. Yeah.
Just show her vagina. What are we doing?
Okay, James, you're talking about this? In the 2nd and 3rd game, it gets shorter.
How? There's no more. There's no more fabric to lose.
The thigh high boots. They change into stockings. Like they go further. Go beyond. They do it. They do
Go beyond plus ultra.
Like I'm just not actually speaking of plus ultra. I'm gonna bang out the most recent season of My Hero since it's done now. Nice. I'm just gonna fucking get it over with. But yeah, I just don't know if it's gonna actually like be here to stay or anything of that nature.
I mean, but all game adaptations don't normally.
Yeah, they usually don't go that well. So that, and I will be watching the Black Clover movie. I will be watching it. I know a lot of people are just hating on it because it's Black Clover. But if there is one thing about Black Clover is that the fight scenes are always fucking entertaining. So I'm gonna watch the movie, and I'm assuming it's non-canon. So yeah.
Black Clover is such an interesting animal because you would think for all the complaints that people have about it, some of which are legitimate and others are just sort of incidental, that it would be this like pretty budget affair that doesn't have anything really to show for itself beyond like people who are slaves to the manga. But god damn, they got the visual effects group that they got together for the TV. I don't even know what to say. It's just probably one of the best of the last era, and that includes like, you know, Attack on Titan, My Hero, like big budget series that got the best. I go back to Black Clover fights more than I do some of those other shows. I'll be honest.
They're good when they get into it. They get into it.
Yeah, the bag is real.
Like Mary Leona's fights. Yeah. And also the 2v1 with I forgot the nigga.
Oh my god.
The 2v1 in the stronghold. Yo, with episode 100. It was literally episode 100. Yeah.
But also it, you know, one thing people underrate is that its primary theme, like in its score, is ultra hype. Like I get sick of some of the like I love Yuki Hayashida, and I think like his work on My Hero is fantastic, but it's like sometimes the remixes of the main theme are like really hit or miss depending on unless it's like the most over the top like moment, but it's like usually a remix. That Black Clover theme and then like the animation be coming in and you're like, holy fuck.
The most recent battle in the anime where them niggas was just getting washed everywhere, and Yami and him fought that, I forgot what their names was, but they fought one of the usurping oligarchs,
and they were like swapping swords in midair, and like freezing time.
Shit was like crazy. It was so good. And then at the end, they still lost because Yami got kidnapped, and I was like, damn. After all that shit, he still got what?
You know, the mentor always gets to get kidnapped. We're not even talking about where Jujutsu Kaisen is right now because it's on another level.
Man, I done got spoiled.
It's on a whole.
You fucking niggas can't keep shit to yourself. I know he's out of the box. Okay, he's out of the box. Great. Okay.
This shit is actually unbelievable.
I appreciate that. I don't know how he got out of the box, and I also don't know how he got into the box still. But I know he's out of the box.
Well, all I'm gonna say is niggas about to find the fuck out. Yo, they about to. I don't know how much. They better get all the Shibuya incident because they've been doing all the promos for the new season, and it's what I had, figured it would be, which is the 5-star.
It's like the Gojo Gaiden or something.
Yeah, Gojo Gaiden, which is really only, again, I think it's like maybe 6 to 8 chapters. It's not actually
super
that long, but they may. I always felt like it was something they could have stretched out if they wanted to. And it would be cool.
Oh, so they're probably going to expand on it with the anime.
I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying, like, I'm aware that they could if they wanted to, and I would appreciate it. But it's not a given that they would do that, because even when they got the movie, it was pretty much spot on to the one shot.
Okay.
Pretty much. There was there were a few extra scenes, but like more or less it was even like dialogue perfect to the one shot. So, you know, I don't know. But if they do it, they still have to do Shibuya. Well, there's another thing before Shibuya that has to happen, and I'm like, this is gotta be a 2-core. But I could see where they could stretch things out if they want to. Anyway, it doesn't fucking matter. Y'all niggas about to know. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Y'all about to know.
But that's all the news I have. Do you have anything you all keeping your eye on?
Package of stuff. The Kaina movie I'm super looking forward to. I don't know if I'm like I'm just looking forward to it. Saw the trailer. Looks like a lot of fun. There's a bunch of games. If you haven't seen the Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth trailer, watch that shit.
Okay, well, first of all, I didn't beat Like a Dragon yet. I have a ways to go.
Beat Like a Dragon. Like a Dragon is so good.
It's so long.
It is long as fuck,
it's
though.
It's long. Every time I think I'm making progress, my stream, because I've been playing it. I was playing it on stream, and there were a few people following along with me, and I was like, oh yeah, like, and they were like, you're still in the beginning, nigga, and I'm like, what do you mean? I'm still in the beginning. But I saw that, and then I also saw the Kazuma Kiryu like interim game trailer. Yeah, that he's gonna have. But I didn't even beat Yakuza 6, but I'm gonna play both of them. I'm gonna play both of them regardless. And I'm gonna play Yakuza 8. Yakuza 8 is gonna be dual protagonists with both of them, right? I think that's what they announced.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But shit is tight, so I would say check that out. And then beyond that, Viz released its lineup for sort of its summer releases. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be that person, but I'm not seeing the vision. What's wrong?
Oh, for the summer schedule?
Yeah, like what they're promoting is sort of their new, and if this is Viz's best effort, okay. So maybe I should like step back a little bit and give some kind of overview, because I think it's a lot of series. It's like 20 some odd series, and I was sort of running down the list. Now, I'm not getting fed, so it is what it is. Like, I'm not mad about that. Mm-hmm. There's like one mecha series that they're pushing that seems like it's set on a snowpocalypse world, which very coincidentally is similar to to Kaina. So I'll take mecha where I can get it. But as far as like the concepts that are being rolled out this season or for summer, I don't see nothing. And I know there was some like grimy stuff between, was it Kodansha and the Shonen Jump partners, like whatever company that's under, like over like the digital release like apps and stuff. And I'm like, Viz, don't go sticking your nose and picking up these whack ass fucking things for localization. Like, you don't want your name in this mix. This shit is not. This ain't. I don't know. This just it ain't it for me. Snowball Earth was the only one I thought would be somewhere like or something that would do something. It's a lot of like romance and like straight up romance, romantic comedies. One horror series, which is like, I love Junji Ito, but like you can't just keep using his name to try to sell everything. I do have to check out what's it called, Goku Akagari or Kagai. Sorry, Goku Kagai. But it just feels like it's a not slice of life. What is it? Sort of monster of the week style detective agency shonen thing. And I'm like, we've gotten enough of those. Enough. So,
are you sure?
Yeah. They did announce that they are officially translating that Jujutsu Kaisen character guide that like spoiled everybody like a year or so ago. The one that had like all the I'm not gonna say it now, but it had a lot of details about certain characters because Gege Akutami. It's the one. So it's the book where it had that interview between Kubo and Gege Akutami that got translated. So for example, there was a quote where Kubo was saying how he really appreciate and idolize how Akatami was able to create female characters that seemed unique, and he wasn't afraid to make them unattractive.
Yeah,
and he said that was a problem that like and then everyone like read that translation the worst way possible. And
I remember that. Yeah,
and his like response where he's like he never really thought about it like in that way, and someone took that as like a slight against Nobara and all this other shit, and I was like, bro, y'all be looking too deep. Well, that was a fan translation. This is the official translation of that book.
Okay.
So we'll see if this is a better representation, given what the fuck happened last time. So I'm happy that's getting a U.S. release and also a better translation. So that's it. That's my takeaway. I'm not interested in very much what's going on here.
Okay. So recommendations. I recommend Diablo 4.
I also recommend Diablo 4, but also it got me in trouble, so I don't recommend Diablo 4.
Why are you being yeah, it's addictive. It's addictive. I'm not at endgame. I'm nowhere near endgame. But it's just really easy to pick up and get back into. And it's getting to the point now where, like, I'm not just mowing shit down. Like, I actually have to dodge regularly and, like, move and keep track of my energy and basically be like, nigga, you cannot get caught up or you are done. You're dead.
They make you pay attention to all of the mechanics. If you play, even if you're, like, very... well versed in how to gear a character, you cannot get away with not knowing.
You can't just sit still and press the button.
Yeah,
like
there are definitely like some builds for most characters that can ignore parts of the game and even face roll parts of the game, but it is so much less likely for you to have such a build at almost any point of the, especially on your first character. So that means that you wind up having to pay a lot of attention to crowd controlling effects and placement.
Yes, crowd
and
controlling
resource
is saving
managing.
my life.
Yeah, like that shit will fuck you up.
Ice and poison, saving my life.
That
Vulnerability.
shit will fuck you up. If you stop paying attention, it will fuck you up.
Yeah.
So, great game. I'm level 70.
Oh. Damn, you're only level 70 and you've been playing for a minute. So these other niggas have been grinding.
Yeah, so I went the long way first. I was like, let me unlock everything in the map, all the statues of Lilith, all the side quests, then do the main story to unlock the next tier, and then been pushing since then. But I took the slow way in the beginning. Let me just give you some life advice, younger people. If you have a partner or a spouse and you want to get a game like Diablo, make sure that they play the game as well, because otherwise you will have a very hard time justifying the many hours you put into that game instead of other things that an adult should be taking care of. So manage your time. Manage your time. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, that's a testament to how good it is. But yeah,
it is very good. It is quite good.
Is that it? Oh shit, is that it? Okay.
Well, we need a question for this week.
Oh yes.
Of some sort. This is actually a genuine question. A question I don't actually have an answer for myself.
Oh.
And that one is a little bit scary, which is, does anybody know what the, and let's just say like the last actually genuinely good video game anime adaptation? What was the last one that you remember? The only thing that comes to mind is not even, the show was not good, but the soundtrack was amazing, which was Persona 4's.
No, I know exactly. I know exactly what it is now because you just said that. I know. Yeah, I know exactly what mine is.
So, yeah, please, if you figure it out, I don't even remember a good one. I'll have to come up with an answer.
Yeah,
like one that I actually
video
liked.
game to anime, right?
Yep. Yeah. That's how it's gonna
I know exactly what it is. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, good, because I don't. all the ones I can think of are bad.
Yeah,
bad.
The majority of them are bad.
Like, it has to, like, when I'm talking, the only thing I have in mind is like 30 years old. So, so I'll just say, for me, Street Fighter 2 the movie. That's the last one I think was like excellent. Okay, the last one that I can remember. So please educate me. Remind me of what I should know.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about weeb shit that has gotten a video game adaptation. I mean, I know exactly what it is because I remember it being so good and I was shocked because everything else was so bad in the same realm.
Okay.
But okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
all right, that's a good question. Oh,
but yeah,
shit.
y'all rack your brains, please, because this
has to be good.
Shit, yeah, it has to be good. Now I'm not talking about something that was
verifying these fucking answers too. I'm gonna go look at that shit. I'm gonna be like, what?
Some shit that people would actually go back and watch again because that shit is good.
Yes,
not
you will watch again.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's see those answers. But
please.
Yeah, that's it for this week. Prep yourselves for. Well, it might not be that long this time around because you said you're not really interested in any of those summer shows. So we'll have a summer watch list thing coming out soon. But that's all for this week. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Also, make sure you give us your answers. And you can give us your answers on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. You know, if you're part of the Facebook group still. And if you wanted to give us to us on Twitter, it's just anime_savants. Also, we are on Blue Sky, so if you are on Blue Sky and you want to connect with us there, we are anime savants, just regular anime savants on Blue Sky, and we will only be posting pictures there for right now because I don't believe they have video compatibility yet, or they're not allowing video uploads. So we'll be doing pictures of like the question of the week because I do thumbnails for those anyway, depending on which platform we're doing it for. But yeah, and give us 5-star ratings on places and share the podcast.
Please.
Share the podcast. Share it with people.
Please. It helps. Yep, you can hit me up on Twitter at Neural Handshake. The old deal. Rama people don't come for me. I just forgot. It's been a while. Other than that, peace out, y'all.
Yeah, I'll see everybody. Oh, I don't know the name of the Final Fantasy 16 world. Whatever. I'll be on that shit heavy. Bye.
Peace.